Morning. Today is September 15th, 2024, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast, looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go. So this has been a good week for Bitcoin overall. If you see on the monthly chart, we're about halfway through the month, and we are positive now. Again, it's pretty rare for September to see a positive month, but it did last year, and I think we could see it again this year, especially with everything going on that has gone on last week and will kind of go on this week too. Is the big thing being rate cuts on Wednesday. Again, it's not a guarantee, but I'll show you later. The odds are pretty much approaching 100% of a rate cut. So, yeah. So let's look at the chart again. We have finally made some positive headway in the upside direction. Again, we had several months of downside. So all this chop. So it was up, down, so on and so forth. But then we kind of remained here. So, I mean, I'm under the impression that we will likely never see prices below like these 50 levels again. Just looking at where the long-term support is and where the other things that can happen, I just don't see us going too much lower. I mean, we've had 6 months. If you were trying to sell Bitcoin, you have had 6 months bears have had 6 months to pretty much push price below these levels, but they have not proven successful in even being able to hold it below 55,000. So like on the monthly chart, they're right here. 55 is somewhere around here. So yeah, they've had flashes where they've come down here every month, but it's been failed attempt after failed attempt after failed attempt. So that does not really concern me. Let's look at the weekly chart. Again, we're still very much so in this whole back and forth chop within the channel, but that's fine. It's really fine at this point because like the longer it stays in here, as long as it doesn't violate it on either side. So as long as it stays within this channel, there's no concern. If it started breaking down in a huge way, it started getting down to like 46, that would be somewhat alarming, but it hasn't. Even in the brief touches, it just came down to its long-term support and then turned around. So right now we're in the middle of this channel. I marked off 60,000 because it is just an important psychological level, and we did get there on Friday. I got back to 60,000 on Friday for the first time in a couple weeks. And now I think we're going to continue going on to the upside. You'll probably face some type of rejection here, some type of other test at 65. Then we come back down to 60 before going again. Or you could even break to the upside and test up here at 65 before breaking your all-time high and then going on to 100K. But again, like I said, there's nothing stopping it from moving once it gets past here. Like there's no overhead support and resistance or whatnot. It's just like pure price action at that point, what people want to do. So again, not much to talk about on the weekly chart. It is still up, down, up, down. Let's see what the daily chart looks like. Let's look at the moving averages actually. So yeah, well above the moving averages on the weekly chart. Daily chart, you see it just turned around right at this 50 moving average. So that's beautiful. If it turns around like these low level moving averages like the 50 and it didn't touch the 100, that's usually a good sign. Daily chart, it has broken above. It went below the moving averages, but it looks like it's curving up back at this point. Your purple one, your 200-day moving average, that's, if you're in a bull market, that's going to be on the bottom always. Once this 50-day moving average crosses above the 100-day, and that should happen this week, late this week, I would think, you will start to see a lot more upward movement. So you see this it's kind of dancing around at this point. I mean, that's characteristic of a range, but it really was it was above here for the longest, and now it's come down. So this 50 moving average will cross back above the 100 at some point. What else is there on the daily chart? Not much really. I mean, like I could go down further, even to 4 hour, but like it just doesn't. It's not really doing much for me. Like it's kind of turned around. So you could say that there's somewhat of a demand zone right here. On Friday, it did have a big move to the upside going into Friday morning. It was somewhat of a squeeze here actually. So like you have these ranges, and then eventually they break out to one side or another, whether that be up or down. They can do that, but in my mind, the overall direction right now is up. So even if I look here and say like in the past, I don't know, since the beginning of August, where has price tended to stay? And you have another scenario where you have this support and resistance. So I would say somewhere around here is the key level. It dumped from right here. Actually, I think that's the key level. It done from right here, and then you see it just kind of came back and forth, and it would touch this area now and then, but it would go above it, then come below it, above it, and then come below it, then it would kind of stall out here. Came back, tried to break it again, and then it didn't, and then now it has shot above it. So that is a good sign. You want to see this flip to be support instead of resistance, as it has been for the past couple weeks and whatnot. This is on the 4-hour chart, so you see that's curving up as well. So yeah, again, I'm not concerned about that. That looks pretty good. This is your weekly news, your economic news, pretty much. So obviously Sunday nothing happening. Monday nothing happening either. Tuesday, core retail sales. Wednesday is the big one. That's the one everyone's waiting for. So at 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, the Federal Reserve will be releasing the federal funds rate, which everyone at this point is anticipating being a cut. And we'll look at some of the data on that a little in a second here. Thursday, you have unemployment claims at 7:30 in the morning. And the Bank of Japan is also going to be releasing their policy rate. So theirs is interesting because last time they changed their policy, which you see they haven't for years, right? 2017, just nothing. Like they've been the same interest rate. They started creeping up this year, March, April, May, June. This one in July was the one that kind of triggered that whole yen carry trade that reversed and whatnot. Because again, they have not increased their interest rate in so long. So that was a shock to the market for sure. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think they pretty much said, "Hey, we're done with the rate hikes." Even after that one, especially considering how dramatic the after effects were. But again, you'll have to look and see. So again, talking about rate cuts, this is Polymarket. So Polymarket is a new, relatively new type of platform that allows people to, in one way or another, profit on different decisions that are made in the market. So basically placing bets. So they're placing bets on when they believe that the Fed interest rates are going to either drop or drop by how much and so what. So this is September, right? So you see September 18th. So that's the one decision for this week. 2% of people are betting that there will be no change. Less than 1% will be betting that there's a rate hike. 66% of people believe they're going to cut it by 25 basis points. And then another 34 people believing that we'll see a 50 point plus basis decrease. So that's September. November, again, still like the big thing that you want to look at here is the fact that almost no one is saying that there will be no change or 25 point decrease. Everyone's saying that we'll have these decreases, these rate cuts, which again is generally healthy for the labor market and the equities / crypto market as well. So December, and I think these may change again depending on what happens in September. So take this with a grain of salt. But this week, it's almost guaranteed that we'll see a rate cut. No change in December. So I mean, again, people are not really saying that we're gonna have anything. So I mean, some people are even saying that potentially a 75 plus point basis point decrease like that's pretty rare. I mean, usually you see about 25 to 50. Like 75 is an extreme situation, which you can't rule out and shit. Something to look at. Other major thing that happened this week was Coinbase. Coinbase unveiled a new product. It's the Wrap Bitcoin, Wrap BTC or cbBTC as they call it, Coinbase Bitcoin. So basically that allows you to utilize Bitcoin and store Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain. That's what the whole wrapping thing is talking about. So it's basically taking an asset from the Bitcoin blockchain and then putting it on the Ethereum blockchain. The big thing is here, and see they're talking about ERC20, so that denotes Ethereum, and it's backed 1-to-1 by Bitcoin, held by Coinbase. So again, Coinbase is the custodian for almost all the ETFs. They're the custodian for retail and many other services. Like they do have their own separate custodial services, and they've been good at it for all these years. So them saying that they're going to hold 1-to-1 Bitcoin, number one, drives demand for Bitcoin. It also gives consumers more confidence. Like their cbBTC did numbers the first couple of days. I think they attracted about like $200 to $400 million, and that was since like Friday when they launched. So it was Thursday or Friday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Within those 3 days, they had racked up hundreds of millions of dollars of people wrapping their Bitcoin and moving it to the Ethereum blockchain that's supported by Bitcoin. In this case, it's Base. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a big one. Like that's a big one. I didn't expect to see that. I'd heard them talk about it, but nothing major. The last thing I'll talk about is I try to go through a chart every week that's not the main price chart, but this is the Mayer multiple. They have a lot of different price charts for Bitcoin, pretty much, and I try to look at where they are relative to where they have been in the past. So basically, yeah, I mean, this is looking at Bitcoin in a historical context. I'm not sure what I think the 2.4 right here. I'm not sure what the significance of the 2.4 is. I'll have to go down and look at that, but I'm just looking at when different dips and peaks happen and what could have led to that. So 2017, you saw, usually when you see some type of peak, sharp peak above this line, I think is what it is, you see a drop off. So if I'm looking at the date down here, it's so the date down here is December of 2017. So for anyone who's aware, like that was when pretty much the peak of the 2017 bull run. So that makes sense, right? It peaked down there. And then in 2018, 2019, it started coming up. You had a little mini run up in 2019, and then you ran to COVID. So I mean, yeah, COVID's around right here, and so you see like there was this big drop off, and then before it ran up again into 2021 in January. Then what is this? This is June. It had one more run up before it kind of got to the end here in November. So yeah, basically when you want to buy Bitcoin or any other type of crypto when it's at a peak or when it's at a low point. So July 2022, I want to say this is when we stopped hiking rates or something like that. We're starting. No, actually we continued to hike rates through 2022. 2023 April. You did hit a peak in April. You hit a peak in April going into 2023. Like that was a run up to 30,000 where it passed it. And September 2023. Yeah. So then it came down from April. September 2023, it started turning around, and then it really ran up to from 25 to 75,000 Bitcoin did. And then in the early stages of March, what did they do? They pulled the bank term funding program, which drained a lot of liquidity from the market, and that caused prices to fall in March, and has been since that time. But we're about to get a new injection of liquidity with these rate cuts and whatnot, so I'm not really concerned about that. As we can see, we're at a lower point than we were in September of last year, and it ran 50,000 in that time. I think we could see a $200,000 run in the next 6 months or so, but again, time will tell. We'll have to see. Again, this has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out any crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com. Join the post on Crypto Discord, and I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.